Let me tell you the story of a wonderful dog named Ozzy. Ozzy lived with a sweet family, and in that family was a little girl named Paola. Now, Paola and Ozzy, they didn't just live together, they literally grew up together. They were the best of friends, the kind that did all their silly mischief side by side. Even now, as they played, sometimes things got a little too wild. Just recently, during one of their games, they accidentally caused a bit of a mess, a loss, in the neighbor's house. And guess who had to pay for it all? Paola and Ozzy's dad. Naturally, Paola got a big scolding, and as punishment, it was decided she couldn't leave the house for 2 whole days. Ozzy was just heartbroken. All because of her, Paola was grounded. What fun would Ozzy have all alone outside? It wasn't that she didn't have friends. All the dogs in the area were her buddies. They even shared the same enemy, that scary dog who came into their area every morning with the girl who delivered the newspaper. That dog used to frighten all of them. Meanwhile, Paola, despite being grounded, was worried about Ozzy. She knew her friend would be miserable and probably get into trouble, calling out for her to come play. Ozzy, being Ozzy, couldn't stand it. She made it incredibly difficult for Paola to stay hidden. Ozzy's big idea was for Paola to sneak out, just for a little while, with her skateboard. They could have so much fun and no one would ever know. Paola actually agreed, so they snuck out and started having their fun. But then, as Paola was riding the skateboard, she lost her balance and took a nasty fall. She was badly hurt. Paola had been trying to hide from her mom and dad, but her mom had seen the whole thing. Just as Mom was about to unleash her full scolding fury, Dad arrived and stepped in, saving Paola from her mother's anger. In the very next moment, we learned something exciting. Paola's dad was offered a company trip, a vacation to Japan. Everyone was thrilled. But the trip didn't allow pets. He couldn't take Ozzy. Dad started calling all his friends, asking, "Can you keep Ozzy for a month?" When everyone said no, he had no choice but to leave Ozzy with a company he'd seen advertised on TV. It was a service that supposedly took wonderful care of family dogs whose owners were traveling for a while. Ozzy's family went to the facility, and from the looks of it, it seemed lovely. They saw a great atmosphere, and the staff seemed to take excellent care of the dogs. Feeling satisfied, they said their goodbyes and left Ozzy there. But here's the shocking truth. It was all a lie, a total deceit. The happy, playful dogs they saw were actually trained dogs, putting on a show. The dogs who were meant to be kept, they were not wanted in that nice environment at all. In reality, these people were terrible. They kept the other dogs in a miserable place, like a jail. That's where Ozzy was taken. The security dogs brought her to a dog named Grang, who seemed to be the one in charge here. Grang took Ozzy's beloved collar and gave her a number instead. Ozzy protested. "This isn't my place. Maybe someone brought me here by mistake. My family just left me at a shelter for a month." But no one was listening. The security dogs took her picture, just like a prisoner, and then sent her to her room. They gave her a chilling warning. "If you try to run away from here, things will go very badly for you." During the conversation, she mentioned, "I must have come here by mistake. My family will come for me after a month." But no one's family has ever come to take anyone back. Ozzy didn't want to believe Frankie, but for now, they went to sleep. The next morning, Ozzy was surprised. They weren't going to get breakfast, they were going to work. All the dogs immediately started working without a bite to eat, and Ozzy was given a new job, separating plates by color. But Ozzy had a problem. She couldn't tell the colors apart. When she made a mistake, her punishment was severe. She was shoved into a washing machine and washed. Finally, at noon, it was time to eat. But even here, Ozzy was being treated terribly. No dog would let her sit with them. Frankie, seeing this, brought her to sit with him. Here at the lunch table, Ozzy made 2 new friends. Ozzy's new friends told her, "You should give up all hope. No one will take you back from here." None of the dogs who have arrived here have ever gone back. Ozzy's friend mentioned that Ozzy should respect Frankie a lot, and they were going to meet him. Ozzy expected a huge, intimidating dog, but when she got closer, she saw that Frankie was actually quite small. Ozzy couldn't help it. She burst out laughing. That could have been a very bad mistake, but the dog leader was wise. He knew Ozzy was new and didn't know the rules, so he forgave her and let it go. As Ozzy was about to tell her new friends that her old roommate and friend had run away from a previous jail, the security dog suddenly threw Frankie violently away. This wasn't because he had successfully escaped, it was because he had tried. Frankie shouted, One day, I will definitely run away. I'm not going to stay here. I've tried many times before, and I'll keep trying. During this commotion, a dog came and told them that the leader had called for them. Ozzy was afraid he was going to be punished. When they went to the leader, he asked Ozzy a strange question. Have you ever been a racer? Have you ever fought in a dog race? He was looking at another dog who was standing right in front of him. Ozzy felt a sudden wave of defeat, thinking she was being rejected, and she told the leader she wasn't ready to participate in any race. The leader then made an odd request. I want you to race with him, but you have to lose. Don't win at all. This will encourage him, and he will be ready to participate in the race again. Ozzy won the race and defeated the top racer dog. The leader was incredibly impressed and decided to make Ozzy his personal player. But Ozzy said no, politely refusing. I don't think I can do this. My family will come to pick me up in a month. The leader just laughed and told her to stop dreaming. Still, Ozzy stood firm, saying, I need some time to think. Thank goodness you didn't say yes right away. After hearing her friend, Ozzy decided she was going to refuse the leader. The next day, the leader came as expected, and when he asked for Ozzy's decision, Ozzy refused him very clearly. For now, the leader walked away. But the dogs knew what was coming next. Soon, the leader's anger would be unleashed upon them all. And it was. The leader started making them suffer in every way possible, getting beaten up by other dogs, not letting them play. When Ozzy tried to run away from all this, she ran straight into Grant, the in charge of the whole place. Grant took Ozzy to his office and asked for the full story. After hearing everything, Grant said, Okay, you join his team, but your job will be to lose the race. It was then that Ozzy realized there were two teams in this jail, the leader's team and Grant's team. Both had a huge rivalry and tried to prove their strength by playing different games, like fighting and racing. Grant wanted Ozzy to join the leader's team, but then lose to Grant's own racer, making everyone believe Grant's team was the most powerful. Ozzy, now facing a no-win situation, said, If I defeat the leader, they will not leave me alive. Because Ozzy denied both teams, her life was now truly in danger. First, she was beaten up by both teams. She wasn't getting food. Even her friends were getting beaten because of her. Ozzy felt terribly upset and ashamed that her friends were being punished for her decisions. So, she told her friends, if my family comes to take me, I will take you all away from here. Then, Ozzy's friend showed her the calendar. Your dad was supposed to come pick you up in a month. Look, it's been more than a month, and he hasn't come. When the scene cuts, we see that Ozzy's dad had come to pick her up, but the owner of the place played a truly disgusting trick. He told Ozzy's dad that Ozzy had caught the flu and, because of it, she had died. Hearing this, Ozzy's dad and the whole family were absolutely heartbroken. They had no idea that Ozzy was alive and being tortured. Now, Ozzy and her friends were devastated, but Ozzy, being the clever dog she was, came up with a plan. She realized if she refused either team, they would kill her. So here's what she did. First, she went to the leader and told him she was ready to race. Then she went to Grant and told him she would lose the race. Of course, she wasn't going to do either of those things. She was going to run away before the race even started. For this, she needed the blueprint, the map of the factory, which was only in Grant's office. Luckily, one of Ozzy's new friends had the keys to the office. They quickly snuck in and got the blueprint. With the map, they learned about all the hidden spots and started making a secret escape route. They were actually succeeding. Ozzy was overjoyed knowing she was finally getting out of this jail. The day passed, and finally, the day of the race arrived. Ozzy and all her friends were terrified, not because of the race, but because today was their escape day. Ozzy had to trick everyone first, so she went to the racing ground. The race started, and then, suddenly, the lights went out. When the lights came back on, Ozzy and all her friends were gone. Ozzy had planned the blackout. There, they found the secret way she had been digging. Meanwhile, Ozzy and her friends were hidden inside a large cardboard carton, which was moments away from being shipped out of the factory. No one standing nearby knew they were in there. The vehicle was finally leaving the factory. They were about to be free, but the security system installed there detected the dogs in the truck, and they were all caught and brought back to the jail. Grant was absolutely furious because he was in charge, and Ozzy and her friends had dared to try and escape. Grant was about to punish them severely, but Ozzy was cunning. She quickly locked herself out of the room, ran to the announcement room, and gave a passionate speech. What are you dogs doing here? This is all a trick. We are family pets. We can only live with our families. If we keep fighting like this, We won't get anything. We must be brave, we must be one, and we should run away from here." Seeing their collars, they all remembered their families. We see that even the leader's heart was touched by Ozzy's words. He told everyone, "Enough fighting. We should help each other get out of here." The owner of the place knew he was in trouble. When he saw the crowd of angry dogs, he panicked. His assistant jumped in a car and sped away, but all the dogs leaped onto the owner and, well, let's just say they gave him a thorough, deserved beating. Ozzy and her friends then chased the assistant's car and jumped onto it. They rode it until they got to a place where their homes were close by. On the way to Ozzy's house, her friend's house came first. Ozzy was so happy to see her friend reunited with his family. Then, Ozzy even found Frankie's grandfather, who had also reached his destination. And finally, Ozzy reached her own house. She only had one friend left with her, a friend who now had no family to go back to. But Ozzy told him, "Don't worry, I will keep you with my family." When Ozzy arrived home, her whole family was so incredibly happy to see her. As they all hugged her and showed their love, Ozzy told her dad, "Someone else came with me." She called her friend inside. The whole family understood that Ozzy had brought a companion with her. They happily welcomed the new dog into their home. After all this, we find out that the man who had kept the dogs imprisoned was punished. The police caught him, and all the dogs he had were taken back to their homes. Ozzy was thrilled to be back in her neighborhood and see all her old dog friends, and remember their old enemy. That scary dog who came with the newspaper delivery guy. He came to town, but today none of the dogs were afraid. Instead, they all grouped together and bothered that big dog so much that he got scared and ran away. And that's where the story ends, with all the dogs happy, reunited, and living happily ever after.